Welcome to the Stop Losing Women podcast, where it's all about learning how to keep a girl like me interested for the long haul, if you think you can handle it. And now, here's your host, HarryWilmington.
Hey guys, it's your boy HarryWilmington here. Welcome to another episode of Stop Losing Women. And on today's show, we're answering the question, should a man be made to feel guilty for having a high body count, or do women actually prefer it? So we found a situation on Reddit here where a guy talks about the fact that his girlfriend asked him how many people he slept with, and now he's kind of wondering if he should have answered it in the first place. He's kind of apprehensive, and he doesn't know if there's going to be any later blowback. And so I want to talk about this. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and if you need more help in your dating life, you can go to stoplosingwomen.com, sign up for coaching, ebook, sign up for the Get Girls Academy. Check out all the stuff we have there that is designed to help you figure out women once and for all. So let's get into this guy's question. So he says, he's a 28-year-old guy. His girlfriend's 27. And he says, I told my girlfriend my body count last night, and I feel horrible about it. We just had a really good time together. And then she asked how many people I had done that with. I told her the past is best left in the past. So understand, guys, that there are going to be women out there that are curious about this. And so they might feel privy to be like, oh my gosh, he's doing this so great. I wonder if he's hooked up with a bunch of other people. And you may feel inclined to answer this question as this guy did, but his initial answer was the correct answer. Your general answer should always be, hey, you know what? I don't kiss and tell, or it wouldn't be fair to out those other ladies that I may have done stuff with. So I like to keep that in the past because that's me and that previous person's business. Right now, I'm concentrating more on what we're getting into. And so at that point, they may push more. They may be like, oh no, please tell me. Here's the thing, guy. At the end of the day, if you want to tell her, I guess that's in your right to do so, but don't ever think that that is a have to. I don't care how much she's pushing you on it. Do not think that this is a question that you actually have to answer. I've just found in general that anything that you're saying that's not meant to attract the person, there's no sense in telling it. So you telling her you have a body count of whatever, whether it's 10, 20, 100, whatever, like you have to ask yourself, is this information something that's potentially going to attract this person? In the moment, I would say the answer is no. So therefore, that's not necessarily a thing you need to be bringing forth. If you choose to volunteer the information, that's a different story. But if she's asking you, again, I don't feel as though that is information you yourself need to be revealing. At best, you could say, hey, I don't have any diseases going on, or I don't have any, kids or baby mamas in the background. Like, obviously, if that stuff was going on, you'd want to try to convey, hey, these are the kind of things that I was into. But outside of that stuff, it's really none of her business. And I found it's not anything that's going to, more often than not, make her more attracted to you, even though we're going to get into a bit of a contradiction later about that. But anyway, so he said that, and then he said, I don't think that answer set very well. So I asked her if she really wanted to know, and she said, yes. Why did this guy do that? Like at the point that she was about ready to drop it, him going in and saying, but I mean, do you really want to know? Again, guys, we're going to be learning that you don't volunteer information that is not going to actually be helpful. Now, I get as a guy, you're thinking, but won't that show that I'm available to be honest and open with her? I guess on one hand, it will show that, but also you're now giving her information that is factually not going to help her be more attracted to you. So it ends up being a detriment. And you as a guy have to learn to have better discernment between what information can you give about yourself that's going to actually prove to be beneficial and helpful, or stuff that is not actually helpful and doesn't need to be said in the first place. Body count is one of those things where it'd be different if like she got the sense that he might have been with other women, right? It's better to have in her head this idea that you might have had a lot of experience than for you to actually like let it be known that that's actually what's going on. All right. Her imagination is going to be far more helpful to you than you giving exact numbers. Because she could say her version might be like, oh, he's probably done it with at least like 4 or 5 people. And then if you say 6 to her, it's going to be like, oh my God, that's a lot of people. So that's why, again, let her imagination run wild with that. But you trying to confirm actual numbers is not in your best interest. Anyway, so he decided to say, hey, do you want to really know? She said yes. He says, so I hesitated for a while. And then she said, we don't have to talk about it right now. So again, now she's saying, hey, we can just drop it dead. We ain't got to continue on with it further. But him trying to be an honest guy, trying to show that he can be trustworthy and truthful. At this point, he's now like, no, I got a thing to prove. I got to prove to her that I can be trustworthy and truthful. And so now he's going to reveal this information. Guy, she was already ready to back off. You had done the job of saying, hey, I don't want to get into it. And then she was just like, okay, cool. She was taking your lead on this. Your lead said, I don't want to reveal this information. It's none of your business. And women understand that because women have skeletons in their closet that they're hoping nobody ever finds out about. So she's not going to hold you to the fire too much. And it doesn't sound like she was really going to be all that angry if he never said anything. But now he's at the point where he's trying to volunteer the information. Bad move. So she said, we don't got to talk about it. And he said, no, I don't want you to be wondering. So I told her I wasn't proud of it, but it's 12. And he's like her first. So his biggest mistake right here is saying he's not proud of it. Having a body count of any particular kind isn't something to be proud of or not proud of. It's just things happen in your life. You got these numbers and now you're with her, right? But you going back and saying, I'm so ashamed. Don't do that. Like women in general don't like it when men apologize because they're looking at us as the decisions we make are ones that we thought about, took our time to decide on, and then did. And so that's why men that apologize a lot typically get chastised and start to turn women off because women don't like to see men apologize for things. If you're living your life the way you want to live it, you shouldn't be ashamed of things you're doing. You could say, at best, you could say, in hindsight, I would have thought about some of those choices, but at the end of the day, my experience is my experience. You do not apologize for your experience. It makes you look weak, and women don't actually need to hear that you're apologetic for some previous part of your life that you were doing when maybe you didn't know better, or maybe that was the adventure you were on. Anyway, so he says 12, and then come to find out that he is her first. So she said 12, like in a surprised way, and then said, well, I guess you had to experiment. After that, we laid there for a while, and she didn't seem upset or anything, but man, it's eating me up inside. Well, here's the thing. The reason she's not upset is because she doesn't care. I mean, she cared. I mean, she heard the number and she's a little shocked. And here's the thing. She's probably shocked because in her head, she may have pictured you as the kind of guy that really didn't get a lot of women, or that maybe you just had a few experiences here and there, but that at the end of the day, you weren't the kind of guy that would have the ability to pull numbers over like 2 people, right? So there's a little bit of shock to the system of like, oh crap, he's had a lot of experience. But then the other part of her is like, oh crap, he's had a lot of experience. And it's not a good or bad judgment. It's just, that's what she's going off of. But notice she didn't try to berate him on it. She didn't try to chastise him or go over more, ask more questions. It was just kind of like, oh, I mean, clearly you're good at what you do. So obviously you had to have some experience, right? She's not, as far as you know at the moment, not really judging him too much in a negative way about that. Now, again, I still say you shouldn't volunteer the information, but we're going to get into in a second why it is that she's not so judgy. But anyway, we'll continue on with his message. So it's eating him up inside. He says, my mind is just racing. Sure, in the moment, she wasn't upset, but here we get to the worries now. What if she starts thinking about it and she doesn't like the idea that I've been with 12 other women before her? I really feel bad about it. And if I could go back and change it, I wouldn't have slept with any of those women, but I can't go back. I just love her, and I'm afraid that this could change things for her. All right, so here's the reality about that, right? Because I'll tell you, clearly I'm a married guy now. My wife knows that I do this show where all I talk about is like ways that men can be better in dating based on my experience. So because I have a lot to talk about, we haven't discussed numbers, but she has a general idea that I dated a lot during the time that we weren't dating each other, right? Here's the thing that guys don't get, and it's because of our logical brains, and also because we judge women heavily based on their numbers, right? So if we are dating a woman and we find out she's been with like 20, 30, 40 guys, we're looking at that like, how could she not control herself? How could she let that many guys inside of her? Oh my gosh, she was just running rampant. She must have had, tragedy in her childhood or trauma or whatever like that. And so now we're judging her on if she's a good person to get with. And, to be fair, there's levels of that. Like, women are the ones that birth and are in charge of protecting their womb from just anybody coming in. So there is levels to be said about that being a judgmental thing. And that's not to say that men that hook up with a lot of people also don't maybe have levels of low insecurities about themselves, or just, aren't really good at being able to keep any one woman around. So there is levels of that, right? But here's the difference, is that women, on a general level, right? Women like the idea of a guy that they're with knowing how to handle other women in a variety of ways. They like to know that a man has the ability to handle a woman when she's emotional, or when her thought process isn't being all that logical, or she's going through some cataclysmic event, or somebody's trying to harm her and he can come in and jump in, right? Like, men being able to handle situations and handle women is always going to be a big turn on. And that also includes when you're in the bedroom. When you're in the bed with a woman, women are going to typically have a better time with a guy that they feel has the know-how to actually please them. And a lot of times it's going to mean a guy that's had a lot of practice doing that, right? And so you got to understand, our judgment system for them and their judgment system for us is going to be very different. This is why women will typically judge men more on, like, if they don't, the kind of job they have, the kind of money they have coming in, the kind of car or apartment they have, because they're looking at, okay, can this man provide, protect, and do all these other things that he needs to have in place to make sure that I'm going to be safe in the long run, right? So in terms of body count, this is why people like Ray J, the singer, just came out and said he has a body count of over like 12,500 women, and he hopes to get like 1,000 more. And you know who's not going to be deterred by hearing that? Other women out there who look at Ray J and all they're going to think is, and I want to be chosen. So there's a few things going on here. The first one is that when women hear you have or think or have an idea that you might have a high body count, all they're thinking is you have more experience, you're going to know more about what to do in the bedroom, and therefore she's going to have more fun, right? The other thing is this, is that the more bodies you have, it signals to women that you are being chosen by other women. And if you're being chosen by other women, there's a reason for that. And so when that happens, now what a woman's going to do is put herself in competition with those other women. Like, as guys, we're thinking, if she knows I had 12 or 15 bodies, she's going to be like, how could you not wait for me? And how could you do this? And all what she's actually thinking is, wow, he chose 13 other women. I wonder what made them worthy of being chosen by him, and why I haven't been chosen yet. I want to be chosen. And you see this play out where it's like, a woman will be like a celebrity, a woman that got married to a celebrity is like, he had all these other girls, but at the end of the day, he chose me. And he could have had like 50 bodies before her. Like, she likes the idea that at the end of the day, she won the contest. She's with you now, which means all those other women must have been hacks compared to what she's bringing to the bedroom situation or the life situation. So I get it. As guys, we get in our head about, oh my gosh, she knows my number. And again, I'm not telling you to volunteer your number. That is not what we're talking about here. At the end of the day, like I said, it's better for her to have the feeling or idea that you may have possibly had high numbers, which works, by the way, well for you guys that are either virgins or that only have one or two bodies in the sack, is that if you're able to come off in a way to women where you give the idea that you know how to handle them, you know what they like, you know what their needs are, they're going to put in their head the thought that you must, by default to that, have already had a bunch of bodies. But it's better for her to have the thought of that than to you actually clarify. Because think about this, right? I remember when I was in college, there would be girls that would date me and they'd be like, wow, you must have been been with a lot of women and this and that. And I'd be like, oh no, I'm actually a virgin. Instant turn off. But because I now ruined her fantasy. If her fantasy was part of liking me was that I must have been with a lot of people and had a lot of experience and she can't wait to try it next, then why ruin that for her? Like, let her thought process be her thought process. If afterwards she's like, oh, I knew you'd be so great because you must have had a lot of experience. And then you're like, actually, my first, at that point, you've already done stuff. You never lied to her, but her thought world is her thought world, right? But you clarifying for her whether you're saying I have low numbers or high numbers typically is not going to work in your favor as much as her thinking whatever she's going to think with regards to the experiences that she thought that you might have, all right? So don't think at the end of the day that if you've had high numbers, it's a bad thing. I wouldn't volunteer that information. If she thinks that you might have, that's fantastic and great. If she asks and pesters you to the point where you decide to tell, understand you're going to tell her with the understanding that there's a good chance she could be turned off by it. And even then, and if she is, this is important, right? If for some reason you decide to tell a woman your body count, she's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Do not apologize. Just be like, hey, it is what it is. I'm a popular guy. Ladies love me. And if you want to find out why, that's great. If you don't, it is what it is. But never apologize for that. Whatever you've done in your past, always be like, yeah, I did that. And it was fun. And it was great. And you know what? you could be next. Like, don't be mad about that crap. Don't be like, oh my God, I wish I could go back in time and do it. Like, no, don't do that, because women don't want to hear that either. All right. So hopefully this gives you guys some clarity about this kind of particular situation. And by the way, guys, if you need help in your dating life, you want one-on-one coaching, go to stoplosingwomen.com and you can sign up for that. You can also check out my ebooks. You can check out the Get Girls Academy program. All the links are down below in this video. If you're watching on the podcast, you can go to youtube.com/stoplosingwomen to check out more of these actual videos. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. I am HarryWilmington. Thanks for checking out this show, and I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Losing Women podcast. See you later, big boy.